Okay, so today we're going to be talking about composite figures and how to find the area and perimeter or circumference of these figures. Alright, so we're going to use a word called subdivision. In other words, we're going to be splitting the shapes up into smaller parts that we can find the areas of and perimeters of. Alright, so just looking first at the definition of what a composite figure is. A composite figure is composed of two or more shapes. So like we look here, there's a rectangle, another rectangle, and a triangle. Or this shape is composed of two triangles, well, three triangles and a rectangle, or this one's composed of two parallelograms, right? And so in other words, the areas of all the shapes inside a composite figure will add up to the area of the whole shape, and you can represent the same composite shape with triangles and rectangles or parallelograms or any shape they give you, right? Alright, so now, just looking over at example 1, right, it wants us to find the area and the perimeter of this following figure. Now when we do this, it's going to be very important that we split the shape up into two different shapes or three shapes if needed, right? And so I would find a place to split it. You can split it in two places. We could split it here and make two rectangles, or we could split it here and make two rectangles. It's whichever one you choose, right? There is no right or wrong choice, just what you prefer. So in this case, I'm going to split it right here. So now we have two rectangles. We have this rectangle. I'm going to highlight that in red. And make this a little smaller. And then we have this green rectangle here. All right, so we have those two rectangles that we have to work with. Right? So, when finding the area of this shape, we're going to have to find the area of two different rectangles. Now, remember, we have this formula sheet which has all of these different shapes on it for you guys to use. You have a triangle, square, rectangle, circle, trapezoids that you guys can find the area of. And sometimes you might have to use the Pythagorean theorem that we talked about earlier in this week to find the lengths of a right triangle and stuff as well. Right? So since we're dealing with two rectangles, the area formula for rectangles are length times width. So we're going to use the area formula of length times width twice. Right? So when we look at this rectangle, this red one, this 18 goes from here to here. So that uses both sides. So that's not my length or my width of the red triangle. Alright? My length of the red triangle is from here to here, so that would be 20. So I can have 20 times my width. My width of the red triangle is 15. Now when I look at the green triangle, I have a length of 16, but I don't have my width. That's where this 18 can come into play. I know that from here to here is 18, but I don't know what this little distance is here. Well, with the green and the red added together, we get 18. Well, I have the red is 15, so I need to figure out what this green is. Well, to figure out what that green is, I can take this 18, and I can subtract the red. So I can subtract the 15. 18 minus 15 gives us 3. So now I know that this length right here is 3 inches. So then it's going to be times 3. So 16 times 3. So when I do that, I get A equals, and 20 times 15 is 300. And then when I do this one, I get an area of 48. So what I like to do is I like to write the areas inside of them. So the area of this one was 300 inches squared, and the area of this one was 48 inches squared. Now if I want to know the area of the whole shape, I add those together. So 300 plus 48 gives us the total area of 348 inches squared. So that would be the total area of the composite figure. So I have to add these two together to get the total. Now perimeter is just when we add up all the sides. It's very important though that we find all the sides before we add them all up. So if I look here, I have 18, 16, 3, I don't know this side yet, 15 and 20. I don't know this side, so I need to figure it out. Now this is where this 20 is going to help us out in the 16. Notice they're both going left to right, so we can use those to help find this one that's going left to right as well. You're missing that one. So this whole thing across is 20. From here to here is 16. So I need to find this missing gap. Well, what I can do is I can use the 20 that goes all the way across, and I can subtract the 16, which gives us 4. So then this little sliver right here is 4 inches. So now I have all my sides. I have the 18, the 16, the 3, the 4, 15, and 20. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 sides. I have 6 numbers to use. We know we're good then. So 18 plus 16, and I like to just pick one and start and go all the way around. So plus 16 plus 3 plus 4 plus 15 plus 20. And so then when we add all that up together, we're going to get a perimeter of 76 inches. And that's when it's added all together. Right. Alright, so flipping on to the back, we have 2 more examples. This time we have an example with a rectangle, and then if I want to split this one, right, we need to find the area and perimeter of this. So area and perimeter. Right. When I look at this, there's 2 shapes I can split it into, and that's right here with the triangle and the rectangle. So now when I refer back to the formula sheet, remember a rectangle is length times width, and then the area for a triangle, or refer back to it, is 1/2 times base times height. Now remember, your base and your height are like the L, the legs almost in a way. So height and the base are where a right triangle is, right angle is formed, right? And so height and base. So if I look back at this shape, our right angle is right here. So I need to know these 2 lengths in purple in order to find my area of my triangle, right? What we have here is the hypotenuse, and I can't use that with my area. Alright, so when I'm plugging in for my length and my width of my rectangle, my length, I'll do it in red, could be the 42. So 42 times my width, which in this case of the rectangle was 20. So that would be your length and width of your rectangle, and so then the area of the rectangle would be 870 centimeters squared. Now with the area of the triangle, we have to do a little extra work to find our base and our height. Okay? So we do not know our base right now. Now remember, the base is going left to right, so we can use numbers that are the sides that are going left to right as well. So numbers that we can use are 42 and 36, because they're going left to right, left to right. 42 goes from here all the way to here. So that's the total distance all the way across. And I need to know this little part using this 36. So I can do 42 minus, and so since 36 only goes partial of the way, I can subtract the 36 to find what's left. So 42 minus 36 gives us 6. So the length of this side is 6, so our base is 6. And now our height, the 30, goes all the way up and down. And so the height is going up and down, so I need to know, use numbers that are going up and down, so 30 and 20. So to find the height, if the whole distance from here to here is 30, I can use 30. 20 only goes part of the way there, and that way I can find the rest. I can subtract the 20. 30 minus 20 gives us 10, so the height is 10. 1/2 times 6 times 10 gives us an area of 30 centimeters squared. So then to find the area of the whole composite figure, we're going to add them together, and so then we get an area that is equal to Oops, that was 840, sorry. It gives us 870 centimeters square. So the total area is 870 centimeters square. 42 times 20 was 840. Sorry about that. All right, now, perimeter, right? Let's look at our shape. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. If I look, there's a 30, there's a 26, there's a 36, 20, and 42. So we have all our sides, so we can use all those sides. So I'm going to start with 30 plus the 26 plus the 36 plus the 20 and finally plus the 42. And so just to make sure, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. I do not need to add the 6 on the inside because that's on the inside of the shape, and perimeter is only about the outside, so you do not need to worry about that 6. I also do not want to accidentally add this 10 also because the 10 is included in the 30, so do not add that 10 either. Right? There's 5 sides, 5 numbers. All this added together gives us 154 centimeters. The perimeter is 154 centimeters. Alright, so last example. Alright, this time we find the area and perimeter of something that has, once again, 2 shapes, but the shape on it can be a little bit harder sometimes to use. Alright, so when we look at this one, we have a rectangle formed right here, and then we have a semicircle. Right? So this was known as a semicircle because it's half of a circle. And it's very important to remember that it's half of a circle because we can use that half number to help us out. Now if we look at this rectangle, we see that this side is 18, so then we can know that this side is also 18. And so we can just fill that in right away. That's going to help us out later in determining the perimeter. Alright, so to find the area, we're going to need to find the area of the rectangle. So once again, A equals length times width. And we're going to need to find the area of the semicircle. And so when we look at the formula for a circle, there's only a full circle. So the area is pi times r squared. But now, this is half of a circle. So if it's half, just multiply the formula by half. So 1/2 times pi r squared. Since it's half of a circle, we just multiply by half. So we just take the formula that's given to us, of pi r squared, and just multiply by half. You can write 0.5 if you prefer. So now, filling in our formula, length times width. Our length is 18. Our width is 8. 18 times 8 equals 144. So 144 feet squared. When filling in our area formula, we have 1/2 times pi. In case of pi, we're going to use 3.14. And then we need to find our radius. Now remember, radius is what goes halfway across the circle. So distance halfway across the middle of the circle. So when I look at it, all the way across, our diameter is 8. So I just need to take half of 8. Half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to substitute this as 4 in for my radius. 1/2 times 3.14 times 4 squared gives us 25 12 feet squared. So now, if I want to know the area of this total shape, I add the two together. 144 plus 25.12 gives us 164.12 feet squared. So the area of this composite figure is 164 12 feet squared. Alright, so perimeter this time. Perimeter is going to be a little bit more work this time because we're going to have to find the circumference of the semicircle. So we have 3 of our sides. We have the 18, the 8, and the 8, but we do not have that distance, the distance around that circle. So we need to find the distance on the outside of that circle. So you can write down our 18 plus the 8 plus the 18, but we're missing that last side. And so that's where the circumference formula is going to come into play. Now we have the radius. So we have a radius and we have a diameter. So since we have the radius or the diameter, we can use either one. Right? So we can use the one 2 times pi r squared, or we can use pi times diameter, whichever one you prefer. Now remember though, this is for a full circle, right? We have half a circle. So when we do our formula, we need to multiply by half. Right? So we gotta make sure we multiply by half. In this case, since we already have the radius, I'm just going to use the radius, so 1/2 times 2 times pi times r. So we're going to have 1/2 times 2 times pi times 4. So then our circumference is going to equal 12.56. And so that is our last distance, so we can add the 12.56, or 12 and 56 hundredths. When we add all that together, we get a perimeter or distance around the outside of 56 and 56 hundredths feet. So our perimeter is 56.56 feet. Right? Key thing to know in this one, remember, semicircle is half of a circle, so when you're using the formula, you have to take half of it. Right? So you have to multiply by half. Right? When doing these composite figures, I stress highlighting, underlining, circling, drawing on the shape as much as you can. The more work you do, the more you write down on the shape, the easier these will be. Use your whiteboard, redraw the shapes if you have to. Make sure that you fill in all the missing information, find all the missing sides, and jot stuff down. Right? Highlighters, colored pencils, anything like that will make this easier as well. Also, right? If you have questions, please just ask. We're working on the Go formative.